You probably think you doom scroll because you are bored, lazy, or simply curious about world news. You tell yourself that just one more swipe will give your mind the closure or relief it needs. But that belief is a complete neurochemical illusion. Your brain is not seeking information or truth at all. It is caught in an ancient evolutionary trap, and your phone triggers it better than anything else in your life. The second your thumb touches that glass, a dark neurochemical cascade begins inside your skull. A primitive survival system designed to protect you from wild predators is now consuming your mind. And you do not even realize it is happening until hours have silently vanished into the dark. It is 1:47 in the morning. Your room is pitch black, illuminated only by the harsh blue glare of your phone screen. Your neck muscles are locked in pain from holding the exact same downward angle for an hour. Your eyes feel dry, burning with every rapid involuntary blink. Yet your thumb moves with robotic, unconscious precision, flicking upward again and again. One post warns you about a sudden, escalating geopolitical conflict. You flick again and read a horrific prediction about impending global economic collapse. The next swipe reveals graphic footage of a devastating natural disaster. Your chest feels tight, restricting your breath. A heavy, sickening knot forms deep inside your stomach. You feel mentally exhausted, deeply anxious, and completely overwhelmed by existence. Every rational thought in your brain is begging you to put the phone down and sleep. You know you have an important presentation or early morning shift in just 4 hours. You know with absolute certainty that this content is making you feel worse, not better. So why can you not physically force your fingers to press the power button? Why does breaking away from the screen feel as physically impossible as lifting a ton of steel? Because right now your conscious mind is no longer operating the controls. Your neurological architecture has been completely hijacked by a high-tech feedback loop. Your brain is spinning in a state of high hyperarousal, yet your body remains completely motionless under the blankets. You feel trapped inside your own head, watching yourself waste precious hours of rest that you will desperately regret tomorrow. To understand why you are paralyzed, look closely at the neurobiology running inside your brain during every single swipe. Most people mistakenly believe dopamine is the neurotransmitter of pleasure, but neuroscientists know it is actually the molecule of drive and anticipation. Dopamine does not surge when you receive a reward. It surges in anticipation of a potential reward, compelling you to seek. When you scroll through a feed, social media algorithms exploit what behavioral psychology calls a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. This is the exact same psychological mechanism that makes slot machines in casinos so hard for your brain to walk away from. Sometimes the next post is uninteresting. Sometimes it is funny. And sometimes it contains a shocking high-stakes crisis. Every time you pull down to refresh the feed, your brain experiences the exact micro-suspense of pulling the lever on a slot machine. Because your brain cannot predict when the next emotional hit will arrive, it releases a massive wave of dopamine before every single swipe. This relentless chemical push forces your thumb to keep moving, perpetually searching for resolution or novelty. At the exact same time, alarming content activates your amygdala, the ancient almond-shaped threat detection hub in your emotional brain. To your primitive survival wiring, bad news represents an immediate threat to your life that requires continuous monitoring. When the amygdala detects threat, it activates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, flooding your bloodstream with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This triggers a full physiological fight-or-flight response, spiking your heart rate and putting your entire nervous system on high alert. In a natural environment, stress leads to physical action like running or fighting, which burns off cortisol and restores internal balance. But while doom scrolling, you remain physically motionless, so those stress hormones build up in your body with nowhere to go. This creates a destructive and self-reinforcing neurochemical loop. Your brain detects danger in the feed, so it releases cortisol to make you hypervigilant and hyperfocused on the threat. That hypervigilance tricks your subconscious into believing you must keep scrolling to gather more information to find safety. But instead of finding safety, your feed presents another terrifying headline, which re-triggers the alarm and floods your system with more cortisol. This constant state of low-grade panic degrades your brain's default mode network, making peaceful rest or quiet reflection nearly impossible. While this internal alarm system is screaming, your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logic, executive control, and long-term decision-making, is failing. Holding deliberate control online is metabolically expensive work for your prefrontal cortex, and it is the first thing to weaken. By late at night after a full day awake, fatigue, and your own body clock have left that control far weaker. It simply loses the biological capacity to override the primitive demands of your hyperactive amygdala and dopamine-seeking striatum. You are not failing to stop scrolling because of a lack of character, weak willpower, or moral failure. Your logical mind has been systematically offline routed by neurochemical fatigue, threat responses, and algorithmic dopamine engineering. To make matters worse, giant technology corporations use powerful machine learning models trained on billions of user interactions. These algorithms measure your exact dwell time down to the millisecond, calculating precisely which alarming topics keep your eyes pinned to the screen. The digital platforms are engineered to exploit your brain's natural bias toward negative information, a trait that kept your ancestors alive in dangerous environments. You are bringing an exhausted Stone Age brain to a fight against the most powerful predictive supercomputers in human history. The first key idea to remember is that doomscrolling is an evolutionary survival glitch, not a character flaw. Understanding that your brain is reacting to perceived survival threats eliminates unproductive guilt and allows you to build real systemic solutions. When you view doomscrolling as a biological trap rather than personal laziness, you can finally stop beating yourself up and take rational action. The second key idea is that chronic doomscrolling physically alters your brain structure through continuous neuroplastic adaptation. In chronic stress studies, mostly in animals, sustained cortisol enlarges the amygdala, while dendrites retract in the prefrontal cortex. This structural shift leaves you permanently more anxious, emotionally unstable, and significantly less capable of sustained deep focus during the day. Every hour you spend doom-scrolling late at night is literally retraining your neural pathways to treat calm silence as a dangerous threat. The third key idea is that relying on willpower to end a late-night doom-scrolling session is biologically doomed to fail. Because your prefrontal cortex is already exhausted, you must rely on physical environmental friction rather than internal mental restraint. Charge your phone in another room and switch your display to grayscale. In controlled trials, grayscale alone cut about 30 minutes of daily screen time. By forcing yourself to take 3 physical steps to reach your phone, you buy your prefrontal cortex the critical seconds it needs to intervene. If you want to protect your attention, understand your neurobiology, and reclaim control of your mind, hit the subscribe button right now.